So we have a star of the show tonight. It's Kate and the cat. What's up, Kate? How did it go? You passed the exam. You look smilier than normal, which is hard to do, but like, how'd your exam go, ma'am?
The second exam went very well.
That is super good. So, did you take it at a physical location or you take it online? Where'd you take it?
Because of the cat, I took it at a physical location.
I know it would be hard, going crazy on the door. So, like, all right, so you took it at a physical location. When you walked in there, were you super nervous or how did you feel? Talk us through it.
So the first time I took it, I was very nervous because I did
Yeah.
feel like it was a very intense process and location. And I think that's what ended up getting my nerves the first time around. But
Okay.
then the second time, I was like, I knew what to expect. I knew it was going to be easy breezy from that point forward. And so the second time, I went in feeling much more confident.
And you're comfortable talking about the first time, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I think it's good to be like totally open and transparent and all that stuff. You took the exam, you went in there, and was it just like everybody has a bad day? You kind of stumble. I mean, I dropped a class in high school that I was like, I even forgot to how to add one plus one or whatever. Like it happens. Like, what do you think the reasons were that you didn't pass the first time when you did so fantastically the second time? What was different?
I think it was kind of like a mix of just being nervous. Like, you go in, you get your photo taken, and then you have to go to the next lady, and she had to inspect my glasses, and she seemed very like rigid in the rules.
Oh, goodness.
I think like that was part of it. And I think that ended up getting to me the second
Mhm.
after the first break and going on from that point forward. And then I was just like a little overwhelmed the first
Yeah.
time.
It's
And then
okay.
the second time I figured is like, well, I'll go to the exact same place.
Yep.
And if I get the same person, I know what they are expecting, how they're going to behave. And if I get them again, I know what to expect. So it wouldn't be too stress inducing. But
Right.
thankfully, I actually got someone way nicer this time around.
So like what we can just like I don't want other people here to get like freaked out or whatever, but was it just that like, hey, you have to make sure you don't wear glasses. Hey, you have to keep your hands out of your pockets or something like what was the like the things that kind of threw you for a loop?
I think I was a little more like over aware of like how I was sitting, what I was doing with my hands, because I kept thinking, I was like, I can't, I like to sit there like this.
Right.
But then I was thinking, I was like, am I gonna get talked to because my hand's like that? And then my like focus kept getting away from the exam itself.
Yeah.
And then I think I was just like a little overcritical of like, are they going to think I'm cheating?
Oh, yeah.
You know? But I think that was really like the biggest part of it is that I just really let my anxiety and nerves kind of get the better part of me. And then from there, it was just kind of like this trickle down spiral effect.
Okay. So that's all right, but I love the fact that it wasn't like a couple weeks later maybe, right? Like it wasn't that long till you took it again. Like so you didn't really I mean, you might have got smarter, but I don't think you got smarter from the first time to the second time. Do you think you did? Like learning wise?
Matthew and I did touch on the couple of items that it seemed like I
Okay.
didn't do great on,
Okay.
but those were the ones that I got like above target on. So I think really it was just more like I was able to focus more on those. And then since I touched base with them during classes and coaching, it made it
Hmm.
like more cemented into my brain. And then
Okay.
I wasn't worried at like the second time around that they're like, oh, she's talking to herself or, something like that.
Right. Yeah, it's a little bit like we can kind of like get in our own way. What were some of the topics that you and Matthew, other coach, talked about that kind of helped cement important things in your mind? Like what were just generalized topics? What were those?
We went over like EVM stuff and then we talked about change control processes because in my mind, just for some reason, I kept wanting to like mix agile and waterfall together, even though they're
Okay.
totally different.
Right.
And then, of course, we talked about like benefits to the companies and like how to track those benefits and then how to verify that those benefits are occurring and that kind of thing.
All right, that makes sense. That's awesome. So, like in the exam, you were able to manage emotions a little bit better, kind of focus on that, not just on like, am I touching my face? Like, what are they looking at? These external things. That's really, really great. How did you manage time? Was it difficult or was it easy for you to like stay at a steady pace? How did that go?
It was surprisingly easy. I like to think that maybe that's because I went in with a little bit of rage that I had
Right.
to take
Okay.
a second
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so, once I started, I was able to really get into my groove, probably like 10 questions in.
Hmm.
And when I flagged only a couple the first like round, just a couple more again on the second round, and then towards the last one before I actually started looking at the ones that I flagged, I had 75 minutes left.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you had lots of time left. That must have felt nice. Now, when you went in there and you finally hit the button to go, did you say, like, I think I passed this thing, or do you think you didn't? Or how did you feel at that point?
I felt very like meh. I was like, I don't know. I think I went too fast, or maybe I
Okay.
missed one, but I did feel much more confident than when I had hit submit the first time around.
All right, cool. Because you're like managing your motion manager things and like you went through there in an effective way. All right,
Yeah,
so that's really, really good. And then ultimately kind of hinted at it, but you got like above target on some of them. You did really, really well the second time. Is that correct?
I did. Yes.
That's awesome. Cool. What are you gonna do with all your free time now?
I'm going to go back to reading my books.
Okay, goodness, you got a lot of them, so you'll be there
Yeah.
for the rest of your life. That's good. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right, sweet. Now we're gonna take some questions from everybody out there, but like, what would be kind of some of your advice? You hit on some things that we usually don't talk about, like how to manage our emotions, like what to do if you actually have a bad day, how to overcome it, and like smile through it in a weird way. You did it fantastically. What are some other like? What do you want to leave the students with? What kind of advice would you give them?
So for me, like I did do a little, and I didn't study the day before, but I
Mm-hmm.
did go through some questions. So I
Okay.
did actually save part three of the timed exam for Sunday before the exam. And I just was
Okay.
like, okay, I wanted to see where I'm at, and I did pretty well on that. And then I did just do a couple more questions with, I forget his name on YouTube, who Matthew told me about. And so I did a couple more questions with him.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then that, like, I felt like that gave me a really good, like, foundation of going in the very next morning. Because I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I did questions. I did well. I know what to expect. I'll get it this time. And
Yeah.
I meditated the morning of just being like, you got this. You're going to get it the second time. There won't be a third time. And then, like during the exam, I was a little more conscious of my breath than instead of like, what are my hands doing? Do I look like
Right.
I'm talking to myself? That kind of thing. I
That's
think
good. Well,
that really helped.
that's really, really awesome. Well, we were so proud of how you did, how you bounced back, and that you like just always stayed relatively positive as you went through. So we're proud of that, and you have all the goodness to show for it. So that's super good. Let's open up the call and see what other questions we have here. What questions might you have out there? There you go, Johnny. Johnny, far away, dude.
Hey man, congratulations first and foremost. Um, I might have missed it. My initial question really just stems from, what was your mix of questions? And then the follow-up would be, did you notice a big difference from your first to second attempt with those mix of questions? So, approximate hybrid versus agile versus traditional, kind of the breakdown of any math kind of stuff of that nature, over to
Right.
So I had a lot of hybrid. I
Okay.
had only like a handful of waterfall and a handful of just pure agile. But I would say
Hmm.
like I definitely had more agile than waterfall.
Hmm.
I did have two EVM questions.
Okay.
I had one matching question, and then I had probably about six choose twos or choose three questions. But the first time I had like eight choose
Hmm.
twos, choose threes, and I had like three matching on that one. So it was quite different compared to like the first round. And then the first
Right.
round, I feel like it was very heavy, like hybrid, and not so much like waterfall.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's always kind of fun to see like two different people, but we see like, hundreds of people. So like it's all over the place. Like, but in reality, it's like hybrid, agile waterfall. They try to get an even distribution, but you get certain like variation as we go through individuals. So as long as you have a good understanding of all of it, you're reasonable. And like, how did you feel like, did you have like agile experience before you started or anything like that, Kate?
Not really. I have mostly waterfall
Okay.
experience. Yeah.
Sweet. So you kind of learned it and you're able to kind of paint both worlds. So that's super awesome. Good question, Johnny. What other questions do we have out there in the group? Anybody? All right. That's good. So you're a Matt guy, a Matt person, and like how would people get the most out of like their coaching calls? Like if they went to like an accountability call like that, like what would be your advice for them or how to get the most out of it?
So I kept a lot of notes. I'm
Okay.
I'm a serious note keeper and I color code stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I did like the vanishing data dump and I tracked everything with that and I would go back and reference it when I came
Mm-hmm.
closer to the exam the second time around to be like, okay, do I understand that? And then if I came up to something where I seemed to like overanalyze it or overthink it, I would talk to my coach more and be like, can we touch base with this again? And
Yeah.
then Matthew, a lot of the time, had me just walk it through like, okay, what do you think it means? How do these relate? Who is the key player here? All of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. And I think that helped a lot because then I was like, okay, I can really focus on like this particular process and how it relates to that instead of like sitting there and being like, okay, well, let's really like nitpick this and see how deep can I go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, I focused more on kind of like the top layer. So I wouldn't get too deep into the analyzing.
So yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people do. Like some, like even like the super, super smart people, that's usually the people that go like they take one little thing and then they go a mile and a half deep. Do you think it's better to go deep or like you said, a little bit wider and have like a systemic kind of high level kind of feeling? Like what's the better approach in your mind, ma'am?
To me, that would be like a PI student. So it's like
Okay.
have more of like that broad range of
Oh,
knowledge. And then
yeah.
it covers all of it instead of getting down to the nitty and gritty parts, until like you want to do maybe just like getting the agile practitioner certification or something like that. Then okay, yeah, the nitty gritty stuff but for
Right.
PMP, definitely like more of a broad scope.
Right. Do you see like this is a leading question, but you can say no? Like, do you think you have skills now that you didn't have before that you can take to your job?
Oh, I have.
Okay. What kind of stuff have you put into your job?
So I'm an executive assistant.
Okay.
And so we have like major event planning stuff. And so some things that I didn't know from Waterfall, I actually have used to implement that onto
Hmm.
our event planning side, which has really like streamlined everything, made it a lot easier for everyone else to follow. And then there's a few other items that I can definitely use in my job to improve processes and make things a lot easier for everybody, especially who my executive is.
That's cool. That's super great. All right, one more question. I didn't prepare you for any questions, but like this one, definitely not. So we're launching this thing for like all our alumni. You get all the PDUs and everything there. But it comes out in like 2 weeks or so. We have like all in elite, like all the people that graduate you. So we get like 60 PDUs, and we have a bunch of other classes that are coming, Six Sigma, etc. And then this is the part of the question. Like I'm going to do live coaching things where I teach on specific topics. And if there was a topic that you would want me or someone that I could find super duper smart out there to kind of go deep into, is there a neighborhood that you're interested in? I know I'm talking to let you think. Like, is it like agile things or Kanban stuff or how to work Jira or anything else? Like, is there anything that I could teach that would help you out?
I would really love like a nitty gritty like Kanban.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would love to get like down and dirty with that to really learn it and find a way that I could use that even in my job because I do feel like that would be a value too as well, especially with some of the stuff that we do at my job.
Okay, so like how to set up a Kanban board, how to organize it, how to manage it, how to like put up cards and do all this different stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I happen to know a bunch of guys that do it every day. So I'll bring them on and they can teach you guys. So that's cool. All right. I can do that. Yeah. One more. Anybody other students have a question? Anything for Kate? All right. Well, that's good. Well, congratulations, Kate. You and the cat have a great night. And we really, really appreciate it. I'll be in touch and we'll go from there. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah. Bye bye.